Engraving. Today I want to talk about vectoring in Adobe Creative Cloud. This is not really difficult. It is a matter of personal preference and the software that you use, and I'm quite sure there's probably more than one way to do this. This is the way I do it for real simple graphics. It's real simple, straightforward, and basic. If I have the graphic or the JPEG, something like I've got on the screen here, it's relatively simple to make this into a vector graphic that you can use within EZCad. First, let me show you what I do. I open the file once I get the JPEG imported into opened up into Adobe Illustrator. The next thing that I do is I like to see my transparency grid, so I show that this way I can see if I've got full transparency in the object that I'm expanding. The next thing I do is I will select the Image Trace tab, and then I select the image. I select ignore the white background. I hit preview, and it automatically will drop out the white background. Some of the things that you might have to play with are the strokes. You might have to play around with the numbers here just to see, you might get some change in shape, sharpness. I usually play around with this until I get it just the way I like it. Keep in mind too, the more paths that you have, the less efficient I would say the graphic is going to be when it's vectored. If you have more paths, it's just gonna be more burning that you'll have to do. It'll be slower, the faster with less paths. So I usually just kind of leave it alone, depending on if I don't like if it curves out the text or something, or the figure that I'm trying to vector, then I might play around with that a little bit. And of course the threshold will bring you in either darker or lighter. It will also skew or change the view. So again, these are all personal preferences. You can set presets if you like. I have one here called EZCad Sharp, which seems to be the sweet spot for me for things that I generally do, and I just quickly will go ahead and vector, or actually clear the image up ready for tracing. The next thing that you want to do is you want to come up to Object and select Expand, and it will expand the object out, and you can see these are the paths now and the anchor points that it's created. Again, having more paths is equal more anchor points. So you're just going to see a little bit of variance there. The next thing I do once I do that is I come over to the properties. You can export it just like this if you want, and you bring it into EZCad if you want to do that. Typically I'll go ahead and I'll take the fill away from it, and then I'll add I'll do a stroke on this, and I'll bring it down to 0.25. and what that does is, you can see on my image here where I'm actually removing the background and just keeping my paths where they are. And if I needed to, I certainly could go in here and I could modify these paths and adjust them out. The next thing that you want to do from here is you want to export it. So I just hit File, Save As, and then I'm going to just throw it into my clip art, and I'm going to put it into my my folder that I keep my files in. So let's just do that. Put it in SVG. I'll call it Wolf SVG. Now I don't use the compressed version for EZCad. I put it under SVG version 1.1. So there's the Wolf. I'll just hit Save. It'll bring up the option. Here you can see the different options that you can save under SVG. I found that EZCad likes version 1.1 the best, and I generally don't mess with any of these, though you can go in and play with different elements around the SVG if you want. I tend to don't do that. It's all preference, and if you want to experiment with them, this is a 101 on how to go ahead and export a quick SVG. Once I do that, that file is now exported. So I'm going to go ahead and load up EZCad here, and I'm going to be loading EZCad from within the system without loading it, so I'm going to get a honk that it's in demo state, which is fine. I don't care about that. So I'm going to go ahead and load up this vector. I'm going to import the vector file that we had just done. Keep that up here on my desktop. There's the SVG we just did, and it's quite large, so I'm just going to go ahead and reduce that down to like maybe 50, and I'm going to center that, and you can see the graphic that we just created. And I'm just going to throw a quick hatch on that, and you can see that it'll actually hatch that image, and you can do pretty much what you want with it. So that's real basic 101 Adobe Creative Cloud, how to vector. The next thing I want to show you is going to be how to actually trace vectors using an iPad. So stay tuned for that. I think you're going to like that video. This is Dave with Patriot Laser Engraving. As always, have a great day.